We wanted to go ahead with a project for the strategic marketing students because we had two key objectives we thought it could deliver to. The first was in the area of supporting our new business drive, and the second was about us being able to own the sensory branding space. And both of these are about delivering to us as an authority and as the foremost sensory branding agency in the UK working globally. So in terms of new business, when we're presenting to new clients, we're not in a position of traditional branding agencies where they already know and understand what we're delivering, and it's a question of deciding who to buy it from. We have to actually take clients through a little bit of an education and explain what sensory branding's about and what the benefits will be. And anything in a new area like this that adds credibility to our arguments and to our theories, like the kind of scientific research that this project delivered to us, is fantastic, and it sets us up beautifully. And in terms of owning our space, sensory branding is quite popular at the moment, and it's a word that people are hearing and marketing directors are interested in. But most people are operating in the area without having a breadth of experience, and so we're in the best position to own that space. We've actually delivered projects like this from beginning to end. So again, to build a database of information, scientific information that puts us into that position of sector leader, if you like, would be a great advantage for us. We're already seeing the value of the research that Wen, the student who worked with us, brought to us, because when we're out doing our new business presentations, particularly when we're in front of FMCG clients, there's a real sense of credibility and authority that sits behind what we're advocating that they sign on to. They're not clients that do things on a whim, so they do want the support and the reassurance that there is scientific evidence that supports what we're advocating. We found Wen, who was the student that worked for us, absolutely fantastic. She came in, first of all, to understand, face-to-face what the project was about, and to her credit, spent a lot of time trying to understand what our business objectives were. Clearly, she had her own personal academic objectives that she had to meet, but so too did she have to deliver to us. So we had an excellent first meeting face-to-face, and then, to be honest, after that we set her up with a few interviews and some contacts, and she went off and ran the project without needing a great deal of support from us, which was ideal because you don't always have a great deal of time to offer to these sorts of projects. And then when she came back in and presented her findings, they were spot on, and we had every opportunity to have a good chat through them and really drill down the points that were important to us and get a good understanding. And yeah, the work was great. The support that sat behind Wen actually was fantastic, because again it took workload and time and energy away from us. So Paul Baines was our key contact, and he managed to keep an eye on the project right through to make sure that again it was delivering to both Wen's objectives and to our commercial objectives. But he also brought in his particular expertise around, for example, making sure that Wen was using the right methodology. It wasn't an obvious area of research for an obvious type of methodology, so there was a little bit of work around deciding how best to complete the research, what route was the right way to take with the methodology. And that all just happened behind the scenes. We were aware of it, but it all just happened, and that guidance was there from him for Wen to get us to the end of the project, which is great. Wen came in and presented face-to-face, which I think was very important. Research presented just as a document on an email is, when research isn't your background, is difficult to get to grips with, and you're not likely to get a full understanding of it. So the fact that she was happy to come in face-to-face and talk us through it gave it the right focus, and it also meant that where there were particular points she made or particular areas of interest for us, so for example where we could see a real application in new business or a particularly pertinent area of research that would have been relevant to a previous client project or one on the go, we could drill down a bit further and understand much more about that particular area. So that was tremendously helpful. And interestingly, it also threw up some new contacts for us, because some of the people she'd had to speak to during her course of research became useful contacts that she then put us in contact with. So it's actually built a network, if you like, or added to our network of useful people in our field, which is a great help. I would advise anybody to go ahead and make the project happen, because we had considered commissioning professional research and for a variety of reasons decided not to do it. But the quality of the research we've had back is equal to that we could have commissioned. So definitely very worthwhile. Specific advice, I would say be very careful to be clear on what your objectives are, in our case our commercial objectives, and make sure that you brief that very carefully so that what you get back is exactly what you're looking for and you can use it in the way you want to use it. You're only ever as good as your brief, so that's important to get right. And I would also say, and I have commented before, that having the face-to-face meetings, both at the beginning to make sure everyone's very clear with what you're doing and at the end when the research is presented back, is absolutely invaluable.